Good evening. You're watching Thursday's edition of Newsplus with me, Wadzanai Sansole, right here on ZTN Prime. A quick look at our headlines tonight. President Mnangagwa today signed the Book of Condolences following the passing of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu. Soon after, the president spoke to the media and narrated fond memories of his relationship with the late former president, which include studying at the same law school at the University of Zambia. We are going to give you that story in greater detail here on Newsplus. Stay tuned for an update on efforts by local police to deal with the proliferation of drugs and other harmful substances. We shall also give you highlights from Parliament where lawmakers are pushing for stricter regulation of content creators. And in sport, Chaminuka seeks first win for Dimbare. We now take a closer look at the stories making the headlines tonight. President Mnangagwa has described the late former Zambian president, Edgar Lungu, as an illustrious leader and a pillar for the region. He was speaking while signing the condolence book at the Zambian embassy in Harare earlier today. Our correspondent, Tafaras Wochiwe, has the details.
On June 5, at the age of 68, former Zambian President Edgar Lungu waved goodbye. His moment at the top from 2015 will forever define his legacy. It was during that period that he carried the burden of both Zambia and the region. On Thursday, President Mnangagwa signed the Book of Condolence in Harare, describing him as a leader with foresight.
Well, we have lost one of our illustrious leaders in the region. He was committed not only to provide leadership to the people of the Republic of Zambia, but to the rest of the region. He was one of us. He was a man who had foresight for the development and collaboration between SADC countries. We work together very, very well. So it's a big loss to all of us in the leadership in our region.
The late Zambian leader shared cordial relations with Zimbabwe, and among national programs, he played a part. He opened the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair in 2015. For President Mnangagwa, Lungu was more than just a president from a neighboring country. The late Zambian leader and him were enrolled at the same university. They were brothers, he said.
Well, besides being president, we were students together. We are former students together at law school. So he's really my college mate. So there's a lot of history between me and him, and several other Zambian leaders, because I had all my education, my university in Zambia and at law school.
In 2021, Lungu lost an election to opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema. For the Zimbabwean president, Lungu may be gone, but memories will linger for long. President Mnangagwa described the passing of former Zambian president as a loss not only to Zambia but the entire SADC region. President Lungu served as Zambia's 6th president from 2015 to 2021. Tafaras Bochiwe for ZTN Prime in Harare.
Now, in a significant effort to combat the proliferation of illicit substances, police have destroyed a large haul of dangerous drugs and substances which were recovered countrywide. The operation saw a total of over 10,000 suspects arrested since January this year. The exhibits were destroyed at Sally Mugabe and Chitungwiza hospitals in the presence of police, officials from the Ministry of Health and Childcare, National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, and the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe, MCAS. The destroyed drugs consisted of over 300 kgs of dagga, 15.86 kgs of crystal meth, and 214 kgs of unregistered, unspecified medicines. Now, the police also destroyed over 14,000 liters of unregistered, unspecified medicines in Chitungwiza.
So figures are being given regularly. In the as of January, I can safely say over 10,000 suspects have been arrested, who include suppliers, who include users, and these also include drug barons. And we've also busted the drug bases throughout the country. That's why we are saying we want things like it. But as we thank them, we are saying let us not relax. The war is still on against drug and substance abuse.
And Commissioner Nyati also said the destruction is a culmination of efforts from different stakeholders, adding that some of the drugs were intercepted from cross-border traders and at the country's point of entry and exit.
We can't say there is a reduction or an increase because this is a war which the country is fighting in terms of drug and substance abuse in the country. Remember, the issue of drug and substance abuse is affecting everyone. The youth, the old, the employed, the unemployed. That's why we're saying we want a collective responsibility so that we can nip the issue of drugs in the bud. But so far, so good, because on a weekly basis, the police has been effecting arrests throughout the country, to be honest. And I want to thank everyone who has been giving information to the police and urge the public to remain alert and not to support or to be misled by drug barons who may think that they are above the law. Yet the law is very clear and the law will take its course without fear or fear.
And now to discuss this further, we are joined live by a rehabilitation expert, Takemo Mazuruse. Good evening, Takemo. Thank you for making time for us here on Newsplus. Authorities say the war on drugs is far from over. Now, apart from the law, what other initiatives do you think should be put in place to deal with the drug menace?
Yes, it's true that most of the drug and substance abuse offenders are young people. So we really need to do more in terms of ensuring that we plug the gaps and the triggers of this scourge. Most importantly, we need to ensure that our young people are productive. We have seen that the majority of them are just, waiting around, they have nothing productive to do. So how do we ensure, capacitation in terms of life projects, in terms of ensuring that they are, busy all day long, doing things that can actually keep them away from abusing drugs. More importantly, we can also look at our schools. How do we ensure that even as they grow, from that tender age, preschool all the way to primary school, high school, tertiary institutions, we have systems in place that ensure that our young people know the dangers of drug and substance abuse. We have some that are survivors. We have so many examples. Some who are willing to become champions. So how do we make use of those champions to really get the message home? Some have actually went through the cycle of abuse and getting rehabilitated and seeing the positives of clean living. So by that we then ensure that our young people have got practical examples of people that have walked the journey and have seen the beauty of clean living.
Now, Takemo, as you've just said that this drug and substance abuse issue has also hit the schools, any recommendations you have to curb this at policy level?
Indeed, we have seen that the challenge of drug and substance abuse is also reached our schools, and which is quite a challenge given that the young people are the future of tomorrow. So we need to develop policies that ensure that our young people are really protected from this menace. How do we develop curricula that speaks to this challenge? Even from as early as kindergarten, our young people need to know about the dangers. They need to know about the positives of clean living. And beyond that, our school systems must ensure that there's very minimal interaction between our school-going kids and those that are in the community, the older communities, because the majority of them, come with these drugs and they even sell to our students. So we need to be strict in terms of controlling access to our learning institutions. Even if it's a boarding school, we should make sure that we do those searches and we are very strict in terms of what comes in and what goes out. Beyond that, we also need to ensure that we even have in-school clubs that speaks to drugs and substance abuse. Just like we speak about sexual and reproductive health in schools, we also need to have curricula that speaks to drug and substance abuse. If we do that, then we'll be able to actually curtail the challenge of drug and substance abuse in our schools.
Thank you very much, Takemo, and good evening to you. Now, from that story on drug and substance abuse, we move on to another one. Zimbabwe's government is stepping up efforts to regulate social media, citing concerns over the spread of false information. This was announced by Justice Minister Ziyambi, who is the leader of government business, during the National Assembly question and answer session this Wednesday. Our reporter Sharon Munjenjema has the details.
From forced death announcements to explicit footage and character assassination, the social media cell is flooded with toxic content that should not be exposed to the public. As Zimbabwe grapples with the scourge of false information on social media, legislators are demanding answers on how to curb the menace.
Tukuona ma social media mune vanhu vari kutukirira vachitaura mashoko asina kunaka, vamwe vachitobuda vachiimba neyatinoti ma vulgar language pachirungu. Matanho api amunawo kuti vanhu ivavo vange vachisungwa pane zvavari kuita.
As authorities deliberate on the issue, questions are arising about the balance between free speech and accountability online.
Our constitution, Mr. Speaker, provides for the freedom of expression, where people are allowed to express themselves freely without any censorship. Therefore, how are we going to draw the line? How are we going to draw the line between someone who said and censorship? How are we going to draw the line?
Responding to legislators' concerns, Leader of Government Business in Parliament, Minister Ziyambi said the government has also noted with concern the publication of information by untrained individuals who end up publishing harmful content.
Social media yavari kutaura yazara vanhu vatingati vasiri vatori venhau vanova vanogona kunge vachipiwa zviga zvekuti pabasa ravo ravanoita vanosungirwa kunge vachiita basa ravo sei. Pazara vana marwei, vana jerekisheni, vanani vasina kana kumboenda kuchikoro chekutora mazwi chekutapa nhau.
Minister Ziyambi says relevant ministries will engage on the issue to explore stricter measures for content creators.
Asi tichakurukura nebazi rekuinformation kuti tingagadzirisa sei mutemo kuti unge uchisimba kudarika zvauri kuti tinge tichigadzirisa dambudziko revanhu vakungonyuka.
Zimbabwe's efforts to regulate social media are not new. The country has already taken a significant step with the enactment of the Cyber Security Act. The proposed stricter measures for content creators are another move in the same direction. Sharon Munjenjema for ZTN News at Parliament.
Now, when Newsplus returns, we'll look at the latest on the title deeds for local farmers. We'll also have a story on the Deposit Protection Corporation as we pose the question, how safe is your money with local banks? Those stories are coming right after the break. Stay tuned.
We are a company based in Zimbabwe doing foliar fertilizers, plant nutrition. We basically do biostimulants, deficiency correctors, specialty fertilizers, and soil conditioners. Amongst our basket of soil conditioners, we've got gypsum, we've got liquid lime, we've got fulvic acid, we've got humic acid.
In the era that we are living, we are experiencing a lot of climate change. We now experience a lot of prolonged drought spells. So by integrating these products in your farming, you are likely to enhance water use efficiency. So in terms of the categories of biostimulants, we have got fulvic and humic acids. We have got seaweed extracts, which are responsible for root development. Then in terms of soil conditioners, we do have gypsum. We now have OptiGyp, which is a liquid gypsum. And in terms of nutrient deficiencies, we've got quite a number of deficiency correctors. We encourage our farmers to do soil analysis so that we are able to identify the problems that they are facing so that we can come up with tailor-made solutions which are specific for their products. And we also have different versions of foliar fertilizers, and these foliar fertilizers are designed to supply certain nutrients at critical stages For instance, we've got Introsostat, which is high in P205. It is applied during the early stages of the crop. Then we do have Introsovegetative, which is applied during the vegetative growth. It is high in nitrogen. Then during the reproductive or flowering stage, we need a lot of potassium. So we do have Introsomature, which is rich in potassium. So these are the range of products that we supply as Physet Farming Solutions.
We're a company focusing on product development, formulations, and also the manufacturing thereof. Our main focus is plant biostimulants based out of seaweed, especially the Eclonia maxima seaweed, which is found in the tip of Africa. We distribute our products to more than 26 countries currently. Not only biostimulants, we also focus on bionutrition, which is a combination of foliar fertilizers and nutrition and biostimulants. Very wide range of products. With this, we can assist farmers globally from seed or from planting up until harvest. We cover all the aspects in between. We guarantee a quality product. We also assist all our distributors wherever in the world with technical know-how, technical backup and in-field support to both our distributors and also farmers alike.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned to Newsplus this evening. Now, the government has signed an agreement with 6 banks which are set to offer mortgage facilities to help farmers get their title deeds. The title deeds program is meant to secure property rights for homeowners in areas previously regarded as informal. And speaking on the sidelines of a research symposium held at the University of Zimbabwe, the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Anxious Masuka, indicated that banks will offer mortgage facilities to farmers for a 20-year period, and this will allow them to use their land as collateral to get loans and improve agricultural productivity.
We also now know that the value will be about $1.075 billion that will be given to 135,000 tobacco farmers. So each farmer is likely to get over $8,000 as a result of tobacco. And 85% of the producers are smallholder farmers. Moreover, 60% of the producers are beneficiaries of the land reform program, which attests to the success of the land reform program. Innovative financing for tobacco is also key. That's why we have contract schemes that are coming on board. 93% of tobacco is produced under contract, mediated by banks and institutions that see value in the tobacco transformation plan as set out by the President, His Excellency Dr. Iti Mnangagwa.
And still on issues to do with local banking, have you ever wondered what happens to your money when a bank holding your savings collapses? This is where the Depositors Protection Corporation comes in. ZTN Prime's Melissa Chatikobo walks us through the details.
When you walk into a bank in Zimbabwe, there's one silent partner working to keep your money safe, the Deposit Protection Corporation. In 2024, the DPC says it could protect 96% of individual depositors if the financial institutions subscribed to it were to shut down. Now with $15.2 million United States dollars, up from $7.8 million United States dollars as of 31 December 2023, the institution says it can give more cover. A total of 19 banks and 8 deposit-taking microfinanciers are under its purview. Up from just under $8 million in 2023, the statutory body says it's working on increasing its numbers to ensure its stakeholders and shareholders are happy.
And what we are now doing is to grow the fund so that we are able to grow our cover limits and cover small to medium enterprises, individuals who keep large sums of money.
Deposit protection cover levels for contributory banks institutions were pegged at Zimbabwean gold equivalent of $1,000 United States dollars per deposit class. The USD cover remained at $1,000 United States dollars, while cover levels for deposit-taking microfinance institutions were pegged at Zimbabwean gold equivalent of $500 United States dollars per deposit class.
The fund size, what we would want to see now, and the answer is no. And are we doing something about it? And certainly we're doing something about it. And do we have strategies in place to achieve what we want now? Can't be exact, but we are looking to the future as being fit for it.
The DPC's role is crucial in encouraging savings and financial inclusion, especially in a country where many people remain unbanked or underbanked. To reach its full protection, the DPC is working on investment instruments that balance growth, safety, and liquidity to grow the fund without exposing it to risky instruments.
Let's move into the SADC region and see what banking institutions can offer. And we have also seen the opportunities coming through in the REIT, philosophy and instruments which are panning out.
Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Budget and Finance says transparency is an indication of a healthy financial ecosystem.
We will continue to look at the appropriateness of all the policies that we have put in place. You understand that the Deposit Protection Corporation was put in place to ensure that our depositors are safe from the past bank closures which we have seen in this country. So we anticipate that we will continue to review the policy.
The DPC says its next focus is aligning local coverage levels with global best practices while pushing for policy reforms that strengthen early detection and resolution frameworks. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chetkobo in Harare.
We now take a look at what's happening with cattle breeding. The government says it is making significant progress in containing the deadly January disease in Matabeleland South Province. This was revealed at a beef industry field day held in the province today, where key stakeholders called for strengthened livestock health management to ensure a profitable and safe beef industry.
Speaking at the event, Matabeleland South Provincial Veterinary Director Dr. Annette Mjongwa said ongoing efforts to contain January disease, also known as thaliarosis, were yielding results, with fewer outbreaks recorded this season compared to previous years. Dr. Mjongwa said the province is seeing a decline in new cases, which points to the effectiveness of dipping programs and community awareness campaigns. But he said sustained vigilance is key to keeping the disease under control.
2024 was not a very good year for us, but 2025 the cases went very, very low, because people are now understanding when we talk about the 554 dipping regime. They now understand what we are talking about. And they also understand that animals have to be brought for dipping, and for that reason we have actually reduced the life cycle of that tick quite drastically.
He called for changes in the dipping regimes, saying only about 60% of cattle were regularly dipped in the province, threatening livestock and human health.
But the current dipping statistics is very alarming. We are dipping about 60, if not 70% nationally at the Matabeleland South. And this is why the disease is continuously, encroaching even in areas lapho kungamelanga injani ibe khona.
The field day, hosted by Simmental cattle breeder Obed Chinamo, brought together farmers, veterinary experts and beef industry players to share best practices in livestock production. Chinamo stressed the importance of livestock health management, noting that it was central to disease prevention and profitability in the beef industry.
So nutrition is the number one thing. Everything else comes after nutrition, and this is what we are here to be showing one another. And then comes the other side where you must dip your cattle all the time. You've heard the veterinarians talking about animal health and dipping, dosing, deworming, vaccinations. Those are all important aspects of running these operations, and this is what we do here. We practice this every day.
He said healthy cattle mean quality beef that is safe for the market and for human consumption. Farmers were urged to consider animal health, human health and environmental health all interconnected in the One Health approach. Zimbabwe Beef Producers Society chairperson George Chiunda said field days were important for farmers to learn best practices in the industry in order to flag challenges as they are on budding stage.
So these field days are basically to let farmers interact, let farmers learn from each other as well as from all these suppliers who are here.
Matabeleland South is one of Zimbabwe's key cattle-producing regions. Stakeholders at the event called for more support for farmers in the form of vaccines, access to veterinary services, and regular training to strengthen disease control efforts and boost the province's beef production potential. As the country eyes beef export markets, the success of disease control programs like this could be key in positioning Zimbabwe as a reliable source of high-quality beef. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Matabeleland South, Escotini.
Zimbabwean companies operating in the mining and agricultural sectors are eyeing deals worth more than $15 million at the 2025 DRC Mining Week, currently underway in Lubumbashi in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, 7 local firms are showcasing their products and services at the 3-day Regional Mining Expo, one of Africa's leading investment platforms that brings together regional governments, mining houses, service providers, and investors. Our reporter Lincoln Towindo, who is in Lubumbashi, filed this report.
The Zimbabwean trade delegation to the DRC Mining Week is being led by Zimtrade, the National Trade Development and Promotion Agency. The trade mission seeks to position Zimbabwean companies within the DRC's expanding mining value chain by supplying inputs, equipment, and support services.
We are expecting to get more than 15 million in confirmed orders, and there will be further B2B meetings that will happen after this fair in Zimbabwe, where we are planning to invite some of the buyers in October to meet with their potentials.
Zimtrade says several business-to-business meetings have been scheduled to help local companies formalize deals with potential DRC clients. Representatives of participating companies told ZTN News that demand for Zimbabwean products and expertise in the DRC is strong.
Our farmers need the best markets to sell their produce after they've had a successful crop to produce high amounts of profit.
Power Drive Engineering sales representative Mr. Tapiwa Mutinimira said Zimbabwean firms must capitalize on their geographical proximity to the DRC to gain a competitive edge over suppliers from Europe and Asia.
Business here, and a lot of many foreign suppliers that are coming as far as China or Europe, and we want to take the advantage that we are near DRC, from Zimbabwe to DRC, we can be able to supply easily and quickly.
Zimbabwe is also using the expo to promote its growing steel and coal industries. With demand for these commodities rising in the DRC, Zimbabwe hopes to boost exports. The country is home to the region's largest integrated steel plant, the multi-million-dollar Dinson Iron and Steel Company in Manize. Coal production has also increased, driven by growing investment in thermal power and industrial energy supply. Reporting for ZTN News, Lincoln Towindo in Lubumbashi, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The Institute of African Knowledge, INSTAC, and the National Council of National Heritage of the Republic of Cuba have signed a memorandum of understanding to transfer military equipment used in the historic Battle of Cuito-Cuanavale to the Museum of African Liberation in Harare. Now, Cuba's Vice Minister of Culture, Lizette Martinez-Luzado, emphasized the bond between Africa and the Caribbean region, forged by the sacrifices of Cuban fighters in support of the continent's liberation.
Yo creo que tenemos una historia común. La sangre de los cubanos se derramó en ese pueblo.
I think we have a common history. The Cubans' blood was shed in that continent.
Y lo hicimos como hermanos.
And we did it as brothers.
Para derrocar al mayor enemigo de la historia.
To defeat the greatest enemy in history.
El hecho de que tantos años después estemos aquí juntos firmando este memorando,
this signing of the memorandum after so many years,
es la muestra de que la historia sigue viva y de que las nuevas generaciones no olvidarán esa historia de heroísmo.
Is the vivid example that the history will not be forgotten and the new generations will learn about all of this heroism.
Bienvenido todo lo que une a nuestros pueblos.
Welcome everything that unites our nations.
The Museum of African Liberation serves as the centerpiece of the Liberation City, a 101-hectare multi-purpose development initiated by Instack in Zimbabwe's capital. Now, when Newsplus returns, we'll give you an update on crime and courts.
Ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to Thursday evening's bulletin. Now, as we proceed with our stories, we now take a look at what's happening in the courts.
Evulava man, Max Bloomton, has appeared in court after he was caught while in possession of ivory worth over $39,000. He was charged for contravening the Parks and Wildlife Act after he supplied 41 elephant tusks to purported buyers. He allegedly engaged 2 other people who were already in custody to look for buyers. The accomplices then robbed in 2 more people to transport the ivory while looking for buyers. The unmarked ivory was examined, weighing 235.2 kilograms, valued at $39,984. He was advised to approach the High Court for bail and would return to court on June 24. In Karoi, a 40-year-old man, Mike Nyowani, has been sentenced to 2 years in prison after he was caught illegally panning gold along the Sanyati River. He was found by game rangers from Matusadona National Park during an anti-poaching patrol and failed to produce a permit. Still at the courts, a Chinoi man has been charged with fraud after he allegedly tried to swindle Girlsware Private Limited of its game park in Masvingo. Allegations are that the accused person, in the company of his accomplices, allegedly obtained a copy of the deed of transfer and a share certificate of the game park. He misrepresented the game park as being on sale. The matter came to light when the complainant, Emmanuel Gombo, saw an advert on social media that his game park was up for sale. The accused was remanded in custody to June 13 for bail consideration. For TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
We now take a look at what's happening globally, and we start off on a sad note. At least 49 people have been confirmed dead following severe flooding in South Africa's Eastern Cape province, with officials warning the death toll is expected to rise. The disaster struck after a powerful weather front swept across the southern eastern region, unleashing torrential rain, gale force winds, and even snowfall in parts. Now, among the dead were 6 high school students who drowned when their school bus was swept away by floodwaters near a river close to Mthatha. 4 other students remain missing, and President Cyril Ramaphosa expressed his condolences and said the National Disaster Management Center is coordinating efforts with provincial authorities to support affected communities. And moving on to another tragic incident, a London-bound Air India plane, which was carrying 242 people, crashed shortly after takeoff in Ahmedabad, Western India. The Boeing 7878 Dreamliner gave a mayday call to air traffic control after taking off, but then gave no response. According to the flight radar website, signal was lost seconds after takeoff after reaching 625 feet, and the plane crashed in a residential area near the airport in Ahmedabad. And police say it came down on a doctor's hostel, and so far it appears that only one person is known to have survived. And then moving on to Moscow, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says Moscow is grateful to Minsk for its readiness to mediate the peace process to end the conflict in Ukraine. European Union partners were mentioned for efforts made to hear and consider Minsk's opinion on the ongoing processes and its interests.
И вчера, и сегодня говорили о дальнейшем укреплении российско-белорусского стратегического партнерства, союзничества, прежде всего с точки зрения оказания внешнеполитической поддержки интеграционным процессам, интеграционному строительству в рамках союзного государства. Отметили важную координирующую роль в этой работе двусторонних межправительственных механизмов, которые созданы по решению президентов. Это группа высокого уровня Совета министров союзного государства. Она собиралась буквально 10 дней назад в Смоленске. И также рабочая группа по реализации положений договора о создании союзного государства. Будем укреплять взаимодействие в евразийских интеграционных объединениях. Это Евразийский экономический союз, Содружество независимых государств, Организация договора коллективной безопасности, Шанхайская организация сотрудничества. Мы заверили в полной поддержке.
UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has stressed the pressing need of building understanding on the first International Day for Dialogue Among Civilizations. In 2024, the 78th UN General Assembly unanimously adopted a China-led resolution with 82 co-sponsors, establishing June 10 as the annual International Day for Dialogue Among Civilizations.
The United Nations was built on a fundamental conviction: dialogue is the path to peace. On this first International Day for Dialogue Among Civilizations, we celebrate that conviction and the rich diversity of civilizations as a force to promote mutual understanding and global solidarity. Today, that mission is more urgent than ever. Where dialogue is missing, ignorance fills the void. Around the world, we hear rising voices of intolerance and xenophobia, amplified by online misinformation and hate speech. In our fractured world, dialogue is not optional. It is essential for building bridges of understanding and trust.
Now, Foreign Minister Wang Yi reaffirmed China's solidarity with African nations at a ministerial coordinators meeting on the implementation of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation (FOCAC) outcomes. He stressed the importance of strengthening South-South cooperation, highlighting China's support for the independence and liberation of the African people.
我们看到，这个国际形势更加变乱交织。 单边主义、保护主义甚嚣尘上，那么美国向全世界那么滥使高关税，那么损害了自由贸易的原则，也这个影响了我们各国的正当的权益。愿意同包括在内的非洲的兄弟姐妹们一道，我们共同来 维护好多边主义的理念，维护好国际关系的基本的准则，那么反对一切单边和霸凌的这样的行径。
The relentless Israeli attacks on Palestinians that are eager to receive aid from distribution centers has caused another tragic day, with at least 20 people killed and over 100 injured near a site in a critical military corridor in Gaza, according to multiple Palestinian media outlets. The killings took place near the Netzarim corridor, a military corridor about 6 kilometers long that connects the northern and southern parts of Gaza, and that serves as a critical route for goods and people to enter the northern part of the strip.
وصلنا بعجوبة وبعد ما وصلنا اتفاجأنا بإطلاق نار. ما بنعرفش مين اللي طخ، أمريكان، عرب، يهود. فالنتيجة كانت إصابتي في رجلي ومن غاد لهان وأنا بمشي وبنزل ومش عارف وين أروح ولا وين أجي. علشان هيك هذه مش مساعدات، هذا موت احمر. احنا بيجيبونا هنا نموت، ما بيجيبونا ناخذ مساعدات. هذه اللقمه اللي مغمس بدم. والروحه غاد مخاطره، اطلاق نار، بيستهدفونا في اي مكان، اصابات كثير صار اليوم وصار شهداء، والوضع صعب جدا خطير، والله يا رب يفرجها عليه. الدبابه بتطخ علينا والرافعه بتطخ علينا وقوات كابتر بتطخ علينا.
Zimbabwe launches first USD-denominated REIT on VFX. That story right ahead.
In the month of July 2025, the world will gather at one of nature's greatest wonders, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. From the 23rd to the 31st of July 2025, Zimbabwe will proudly host the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Contracting Parties to the Convention on Wetlands, COP15. This is more than a conference, it's a call to action, running under the theme, protecting wetlands for our common future. COP15 will unite 173 nations to address pressing issues, wise use of wetlands, biodiversity loss, climate change, and sustainable development. Together, we will explore innovative solutions, strengthen global commitments, and ensure wetlands remain vital for the current generation and those to come. Join us in shaping a sustainable future. COP15, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, July 23rd to 31st. Protecting wetlands for our common future starts here. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Wildlife.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
You're watching Newsplus, and it's time for us to take a look at what's happening in the world of business. Zimbabwe took a major step towards deepening its capital markets by launching the first ever US dollar-denominated real estate investment trust, Ego REIT. The REIT was listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange on May 16, with trading starting on the 19th. Backed by Fidelity Life Asset Management, Ego REIT is targeting $62 million to fund property developments in Victoria Falls and Mazoe. And so far, $24.5 million has been raised through private placement. Speaking on ZTN Prime's The Mint, financial analyst Kudakwashe Taimo said the listing reflects growing maturity in Zimbabwe's markets.
It's crucial because it simply shows the growing momentum in the REIT space. I'm sure if you were to look at around 2022, 2023, I mean, the issue of REITs, it was new in the market. But, well, Ego REIT, that's the first VFX USD-denominated REIT to be listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. So from a market perspective, that's a positive development, and as well as just showing a growing momentum in the REIT space. As we've seen in the past years, there was increased if you can say, appetite in the property sector due to its inflation hedging aspect.
Now, Taimo added that investor appetite is also changing, especially for USD-denominated assets and retail investors who are cautiously entering the space.
It simply shows that a lot of institutional investors, there is limited participation on the VFX, and it's justified for them to do so. A lot of maybe looking at the asset management perspective, they are resorting to alternative investments, such as particularly the real estate per se, and not directly in the REITs. There's always just holding on to USD cash.
And as Ego REIT begins trading, market watchers are eager to see if it opens doors for more property-backed investment mediums and deeper capital market participation. Now moving on to tourism, Zimbabwe has made significant strides in global tourism, securing key positions at the 68th UN Tourism Regional Commission for Africa meeting in Nigeria. Zimbabwe was elected Vice President of the UN Tourism General Assembly and won a seat on the UN Tourism Executive Council for 2025 to 2029. Additionally, Zimbabwe will host the 3rd UN Tourism Women in Tourism Regional Congress in 2026, showcasing its commitment to inclusive and sustainable tourism practices. Now, Tourism and Hospitality Minister Barbara Rosie speaks.
68 UN Tourism CAF has been fantastic. The meeting that has, since I was a deputy minister and now a minister, a meeting that was done peacefully with a lot of wisdom and a lot of and solidarity as Africans, which is what our heads of state are always preaching, that we must come together, even if at our level. Elections were conducted very, very well, and I'm happy that Zimbabwe qualified to be in the Executive Council. We are also very happy that we are Vice President for the upcoming November General Assembly for UN Tourism in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So all that is great news for Zimbabwe, and it shows it's actually an endorsement of our destination.
Rwanda-based mining concern Vubachikwe Mine, whose operations were scaled down for care and maintenance following an illegal strike 2 years ago, have officially reopened the mine clinic as they embark on an ambitious expansion program to scale up the mine to new heights. They heralded the target of growing the mine beyond its peak capacity at the height of operations. Now, the clinic was reopened by Canadian Ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Adler Aristide, whilst his American counterpart, Ambassador Pamela Tremont, looked on. This was on the sidelines of a familiarization tour the two took to Rwanda to appreciate the struggles and rebirth of Vubachikwe Mine in a private tour. Ambassador Aristide paid tribute to Duration Gold for bringing healthcare to the community.
We know the service that is provided to the community through this place, and public health, healthy communities are priorities for Canada and for the United States.
Mine Communications Manager Robert Mkondiwa, who spoke on behalf of the Managing Director Alan Dolan, emphasized the desire to partner government in providing healthcare to ensure a healthy, happy nation.
What we want to do ultimately is to go back to a circumstance where we provide adequate healthcare for the masses, for our villages and beyond, for our workers, their dependents, and actually even beyond, because if we maintain a healthy society, then we can always reap the benefits out of that human resource that we will have.
And still on business, Bulawayo's construction sector continued its upward trajectory in April, with the city approving building plans valued at over $4.6 million, a clear indication of renewed activity in the local property and infrastructure market. According to the latest report from the Environmental Management and Engineering Department, the city of Bulawayo processed a total of 697 building plans during the month and under review. And of these, 316 plans completed the review process, with 176 gaining approval at a combined value of $4,613,365. The remaining 140 plans were referred back for corrections, while 381 are still under consideration in other departments. Now, up next is sport.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done it.
Get ready for more on Supersport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
In the absence of regular captain Emmanuel Jalai, struggling Dynamos will be led by vice-captain Shadrack Nyawa when they face Bikita Minerals at Gibo on Saturday. The club seeks to reverse a dismal run of form that has left them languishing in 16th place with just 10 points.
This game, like I alluded earlier, is a game where we want to take the game to the hosts. We want, if they allow us, we want to take in this game. We want our first game. We want our first win since my coming. And I think it probably will be our first away win if I am right to saying so.
Premier Soccer League action resumes this weekend following the international break, and Highlanders will once again be under the spotlight as they welcome defending champions Simba Bora. Bosso are looking to snap out of the 4-game winless run against a fired-up Simba Bora side led by their former assistant coach Joe Lupahla. We get more in the following report.
Highlanders will be hoping to make the most of home advantage when they host defending champions Simba Bora at Battlefield Stadium on Sunday. Having just faced Dynamos before the break, Bosso are once again at the center of attention, this time against another high-profile opponent. Winless in their last 4 outings, Highlanders are under pressure to bounce back against a Simba Bora side that is unbeaten in 3 games and firmly in the title race. 7 points separate the two sides, with recent stumbles slowing down Bosso's early momentum in the league. Coach Kelvin Kaindu is boosted by the return to training of club captain Ariel Sebanda from injury, as well as 4 players back from national duty. But he emphasizes that teamwork will be key to securing a positive result.
We are waiting for the response once they report for training. Sometimes the players come a bit tired after being in a tournament. Some will probably seek for a rest, but if they don't come for training, it will be difficult for us to put them into the team. But once they are here, it is a boost when you have got players that are coming from the national team, and we just hope that the experience that they gained in a few games that they played is going to help us, I think, on Sunday.
Highlanders had gone 9 matches unbeaten before the recent dip in form, despite several strong individual performances. The international break came at a crucial time, offering the team a chance to regroup and rediscover their mojo as competition heats up.
We didn't do well in the last few games that we played, and also for the first time this season that we played 2 games consecutively without us getting a goal and also not picking up a victory. Days that we have been on the break, I think we have been working on the conditioning of the players and also the finishing part of it, and this is the area that we are focusing mostly on.
Simba Bora now coached by former Highlanders player and assistant coach Joe Lupahla, but Kaindu is not reading much into the sentiment or familiarity.
He knows the Highlanders culture. He's been here as a player, he's been here as a coach. Of course, he's got an advantage, but football is a bit dynamic. I think 90 minutes is the one that probably determines how the outcome of the game. Joe has been here as a player, he's been here as a coach. He's worked with some of the players, and I think he's also recommended some of the players that are still here. He knows the culture, he knows everything that we do, but football is quite dynamic. I think football is determined on the field of play.
Highlanders are currently 11 points off the top, but have shown promising signs in their quest for silverware, and with a budding rivalry between the two teams, this weekend's clash is shaping up to be an explosive affair.
The Zambezi Eagles left the country ahead of the Telkom Netball League Power Week 2 underway this Friday. Ahead of the games, the players are prepared for the challenge that lies ahead. We get more in the following report.
The Zambezi Eagles are ready to fly as they take part in the Telkom Netball League Power Week 2. The team, which is made up of both senior and junior players, is set to face some of the best teams in South Africa. Vice-Captain Nico Mzanenamo is delighted by the effort that has been shown by her teammates as they were preparing for the games and is ready to give her best.
Since day one, everyone is 100% working, showing it is ready for second leg in South Africa. And fighting spirit they own. To give it her best. But to make the nation proud, to make my teammates proud, my family proud. So
First up for the Eagles is a date against holders, Free State Premiums, in a match that they will use to prove that they are not there to add numbers, but also to prove their worth.
Futhi ngama-best teams khona ngale South Africa, yes, ngiyalisibili, but that is sizabanika i-hard time, bazasifila. Obviously that is sikhangele kuwina, but at the end of the day kulowina eli-1. So sizahamba sifake 150% wethu, ama-results azaphuma but asingeke sibavumele ukuthi beya phambili kodwa indawo zokuthi i-best team that is sizabanika i-hard time lana. Iwina le dela ngikhona kuzabonakala.
The team won 4 matches out of the 9 in their first week, and Mzaneni Namo believes that they've done their homework ahead of the Power Week 2 and is grateful for the support that the team has received.
I think sifundile from our mistakes, so sizahamba siye-perfecta lapha besiphambanisa khona. Obviously sizaphuma le-something, and ngiyabathemba amankazana ukuthi azahambe ephefoma kahle South Africa ku-3 games ezifikayo. Thank you for supporting amaZambezi. We really appreciate your support. Keep on supporting us. Lathi sizalinika the best performance esiyikwanisayo. Siyabonga kakhulu.
The Zambezi Eagles side boasts of players who are still developing, as well as some who have played at the highest stage and will be used as a bridge between clubs and the senior netball team. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Tawanda Muntali.
Now, Zimbabwe Sables preparations for the 2025 Africa Cup got a huge lift following the unveiling of Alliance Health as the team's latest sponsors. The announcement was made today at Alliance Health's Alex Park head offices in Harare, with both parties expressing excitement over their partnership. This landmark partnership will see Alliance Health providing comprehensive medical cover for the national team players, supporting them with injury treatment, medical care, and other critical health needs, both locally and while on international duty.
As Alliance Health, we've had a passionate interest in young Zimbabwean sport for many years now, and we've noted with interest, particularly the performance levels that we've seen out of the young Sables coming through here. And that's something, particularly with the clean living lifestyle that these guys are beginning to really put through Zimbabwean rugby. We saw this as a great opportunity to partner with people that represent our brand and everything we can do together. You know, the young Sables have an incredibly great opportunity ahead of them here. This is probably one of the best teams Zimbabwe's put forward for many a year. And yeah, as Alliance Health, we're just delighted to have the honor of putting our name behind them and having their back as they go forward representing the country.
As Zimbabwe Sables, really happy to have Alliance Health on board. As you know, rugby is a very contact sport, and really happy to have the best healthcare in Zimbabwe.
The Sables have since begun their Africa Cup preparations with locally based players, remaining unbeaten in their recent fixtures against Zambia and Botswana. The official camp starts this Sunday, when overseas-based players are expected to join the squad ahead of their title defence. And still on sport, total prize money at this year's Wimbledon tennis tournament will increase by 7% to a record £53.5 million. The prize pot, worth £50 million in 2024, is double the £26.5 million on offer in 2015. Carlos Alcaraz and Barbora Krejcikova each took home £2.7 million for winning the men's and women's singles titles respectively last year. Now, this year's winners will receive £3 million, an increase of 11%. And players knocked out in the first round will receive £66,000, an increase of 10%. There will be a 4% increase for the men's and women's doubles winners, who will earn a £680,000, and a 3% increase for the mixed doubles winners to £135,000. Now, Olympic officials meeting on Wednesday in Switzerland took a calm, longer view of the 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles after days of images of deployed military and burning cars on the host city streets. IOC President Thomas Bach said that the strength of the city's community and the umbrella group of 36 sports that Los Angeles will host in just over 3 years' time. He also expressed faith in a shared wish of all levels of government to unite for the Olympic project. And that wraps up our bulletin this evening. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Wadzanai Sansole. Have a good night.